today is Module 4, Lesson 19, which is very similar to yesterday's lesson. Today we're going to be substituting to evaluate addition and subtraction expressions. Let's take a look at the opening exercise. My older sister is exactly 2 years older than I am. Sharing a birthday is both fun and annoying. Every year on her birthday, we have a party, which is fun. But she always has to brag to her friends that she's 2 years older than I am, which is so annoying. Shown below is a table of our ages starting when I was born. So you always have to have a title or a heading on any sort of table that you make. So we have my age in years, and then my sister's age in years. So we know what the units are, okay? Years. So looking at the table, what patterns do you see? What do you see? What do you notice? Okay, but plus 2 which way? Let's label, identify what's plus 2. So my sister's age is always sorry, I didn't give myself enough room. So my sister's age is always 2 years more than my age. So on the day that I turned 8, how old was my sister? 10. You did that in your head all by yourself. You're a genius. How did you know? No. How did you know it was 10? Yep.
Because the sister is always 2 years older.
Exactly. Since my sister's age is always 2 years more than my age, we just add. So if I'm 8, 2 more years, that would be 10. So on the day I turn 16, how old is my sister gonna be?
18. She'll be 18.
So how old is she?
18.
18. How did you know? Well, since my sister's age is always 2 years more than my age, look at me being lazy. Since my sister's age is 2 years more than my age, we just add. So 16 plus 2 is 18. Now, 16 isn't on the table. Do I have to extend that table and draw it all the way down? No, not at all. Because we know the pattern. No. Gentlemen. The pattern is to add 2. There's the bubble on the board, I'm sorry. To your age. Calculate your sister's age. Those for variables are great. We don't have to extend the table. Once we see the pattern, we know that that's always going to be the rule. I hope this was recording correctly. Okay, and the microphone was down, so it might have been a little, I might have sounded like the Peanuts teacher for the first part of the video. All right. But, so, because we don't need the table, we found a pattern. That would help because suppose we don't know how old I am. Suppose we don't know how old I am. Let's use a variable for my age, like y, for years, okay? Can you develop an expression to describe how old my sister is? So if my age is y, what did we always say? She's always, so what would I do?
Add 2.
Yep. So y plus 2. So if I'm y, my sister is y plus 2. All right, let's continue. So how old was I when my sister was 6? Let's look at the table the other way now. So if my sister was 6, how old was I? 4. How old was I when my sister was 15?
13.
13. How did you know that? Common sense? No.
Mental math.
Well, but what motivated your mental math? How did you figure that out?
15 minus 2 would be 13.
Right, because my age is always 2 what? 2 years what? Right. It's 2 years less than my sister's age. So no matter what she is, put that away, please. I'm 2 years less. So if we use G for my sister's age, all right, so how do we do it? Just like Petra said, we subtract 2. So if my sister is G, what's mine? G minus 2. So if my sister is G, I'm G minus 2. I don't like that they use the capital letter. Traditionally, our variables are lowercase letter because capital letters are reserved for formulas like area, perimeter, volume. Yes, you're correct. Yes, we can because we can subtract 2 from my sister's age. All right, so we filled in the last row. Okay, so how old was my sis? How old was I when my sister was 22? 20, 23. I was 21. When my sister was 24, I was 22. So I'm always 2 years less. Now we're similar to the homework. That was number 2 on the homework last night. Instead of subtracting, we were now adding. We had to look at it the other way around. All right, let's try this. All right, so Noah and Carter collecting box tops for school. A great thing to do. We do it at Great Hollow. My husband does that for his school too. They each bring in 1 per day starting on the first day of school. So day 1, they brought in 1. Day 2, they brought in 2. Day 3, they brought in 3. However, Noah and Carter have some pretty cool family members. Carter had a head start because his aunt sent him 15 box tops before school began. Noah's grandma saved 10 box tops, and Noah added those on the first day. So, because Noah had 10 from his grandmama, he started with 11. And because Carter had an additional 15 from his aunt, he started with 16. So let's fill in the table. So on day 2, he had 12, 13, 14, 15, because he always brought in 1 more box top. So we could fill in the table since we know that he keeps bringing in 1 more. Now it would be a total pain if I had to continue this chart. So let's see if we could use a variable to help us. Let D be the number of days since the new school year began. On day D of school, how many box tops will Noah have brought? Well, he always brings in that many, but he also had how many? He had D amount, but Noah also had that initial, how many? 10 from his grandmother. So Noah always will have the same amount as the number of days. plus that initial 10. So on D, days of school, how many will Carter have? Well, D, but he has an additional 15 from his aunts. So now if it's the 10th day of school, so we're saying D equals 10, and we're saying Noah has that plus another 10. So how many did Noah bring on the 10th day of school? 20 box tops. Let's label our answer. So on day 10, so D equals 10, but Carter had that plus 15 from his aunt. So if D equals 10, the answer is 25 box tops. Yes.
I noticed that Carter always has 5 more boxes.
Yeah, because he started with 5 more. Yep. Because his aunt is totally better than the other grandma. Yeah.
Grandma's like,
All right, let's try this one. Each week, the primary school recycles 200 pounds of paper. The intermediate school also recycles the same amount, but had 300 pounds left over from summer school. The intermediate school custodian added this extra 300 pounds to the first recycle week. So let's number the weeks. Week 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Whoa! You're so lucky this is being recorded right now, so there's no evidence. Okay, so we started with 200 pounds. They also had 200 pounds, but they had that 300 left over from summer school. So they started with 500 pounds. Each week, they added another 200 pounds. Okay? So if this trend continues, what will be the total amount collected for each school on week 10? So we have to find for the primary school and for the intermediate school. So if it's 200 per week for 10 weeks, what would it be? Right, 2,000. And now the intermediate school would also have 2,000, but don't forget they had that initial 300 added on.
the answer would be 5,000.
Nope. Well, they want to know for each school, not total. All right, so this is your answer. The primary school would have collected 200 pounds. The intermediate school would have been 2,300 pounds. And let's try the last one on your own. Shelly and Kristen share a birthday, but Shelly is 5 years older. So we have to make a table. The table, ladies, has to start with a heading. So we have Kristen. What about her? Kristen is Kristen's age in years. We want to identify what the unit is. And then we have Shelly's age in years. So if we're starting with when Kristen was born, that would be 0, 1, 2, and 3. Shelly is always 5 years older. So that would be 5, 6, 7, 8. Because it would be her age plus 5 each time. Okay? Now instead of extending that table, let's see what we could do. So we know that Shelly is always Kristen plus 5. So if Kristen is 16 and Shelly is Kristen plus 5, how old is Shelly? How old is Shelly? 21 years old. You're going to write that out. 21 years old. If Kristen is K years old, how old is Shelly? K plus 5. But now if Shelly is S years old, so if Shelly is S, how old is Kristen? Yeah, S minus 5 because she's 5 years younger. Okay? Remember, addition and subtraction are inverse operations. So the inverse operations can help us with the expressions, okay? Also, make sure that you label your columns in a table and that you label your answers as well. I'm going to stop the recording and I'm going to ask you all to turn to your sprints and take out a sheet of loose leaf paper.